Hi, this is AJ with Effect Radio, and I am excited to have with us the lead singer of the band Disciple. Hello and welcome, Kevin.
Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Wait, tell me about your new project. You just released a new album. I was so thrilled to see that. And can you tell us about it and how is it different than your other albums? What's the story behind it? It has an interesting name, Skeleton Psalms.
Yes. Wow. I mean, there's so many questions you just asked. So it was the most complete album we've ever done, and I say that because we always, we write about 30 songs each album, and we have the hardest time cutting them. And so we always end up putting songs that we like, but songs that we may know they're not like, the cream of the crop, but we still really like them and we want them to go on there. It's, like trying to pick your favorite child or whatever. And this time we decided to just be brutal and just go 10 songs. We wrote 30 and we're like 10. And there were songs that was really painful to cut. But we did anyway, and we cut them and just put 10 out there, and it made it the most complete album that we've ever had. As far as, we don't, in our opinion, we don't feel like there's any skippable songs, and, our fans' reaction as well. Of course, people that don't like our music will skip them all, but, so that was it. That was exciting. And, we're at a stage in our career where we kind of work slowly and we put it out when it gets done, but we got the opportunity to play Winter Jam this year. And we were like, well, we need to put this album out before we go on tour with Winter Jam. And so we were busting our butt all November and December to try to get this thing done before we went on tour, because we knew once we went on tour, we wouldn't have any time to work on it at all. And we were able to get it done like in January, and it came out in April. So
well, excited for that album. So we're already rocking a lot of those tunes off of that album. And you mentioned picking your favorite child there for a second. And I'm going to throw this out there. You may not have an answer for me, but do you have like a favorite song that you have wrote that is a little more favorite than the other ones?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. On this new album, it's a song that we've got called Resurrecting Reasons. And it really came out of a place, one of the things that we try to do is just be honest about what we're going through. We don't really put on a facade that we're super Christians and that we're perfect and have it all together, and so whenever we completely blow it as human beings, we write about it. And this was a song, coming from that kind of place, and just feeling so lost and feeling like there's just no redemption for you, but this idea that God doesn't leave us, and that even though we keep trying to leave him, and he's still just right there. And the tagline, it says, you keep resurrecting reasons to keep resurrecting Jesus in me. And it's very powerful and personal for me, because that is my testimony that God was extremely faithful to me and did not leave me. And, being able to write a song about that, is pretty special.
Yeah, that's something our listeners can appreciate too and relate with. So is there like a concert that sticks out in your mind that like, wow, this concert was amazing. I'd love to go back and perform there. Do you have one of those?
Oh yeah. Every year we play in Germany. We used to play Christmas Rock Night every year. Now they call it the Loud and Proud, a different festival. It's called Loud and Proud Festival that we play once a year. And that's our favorite show of the year. Our favorite show in the U.S. every year is probably the Uprise Festival in Pennsylvania. And, there's a few states that we know it doesn't matter where we play, we're going to have a good time. Ohio is one of those states. So, yeah, man, we definitely have our favorites, but there's a lot of favorites, but there can only be one.
Yeah, there's always those highlights. So you guys have been around since 1992, I believe.
It sounds so long ago when you say it that way.
Well, I remember thinking the 90s was just 10 years ago, but no, it's approaching a a little longer
Right.
than that. But
Yeah.
anyway, where do you see yourselves in the next 5 or 10 years?
I mean, if you had asked me that in 1997, I'd give you the exact same answer. Like it's what I was born to do, and it's why God put me on this earth. And until He tells me something different, this is what I'm going to be doing. So age is not a factor. What year it is not a factor. Um, He surrounded me with super amazing, talented guys that just have an incredible drive and work ethic. Um, and so yeah, this is it. This is what we're doing. 5, 10, 20 years from now, this is you'll be able to find me here unless he tells me to do something different, which I'll be happy to do something different if that's what he wants. I'm his, whatever he wants.
How do you
Mm.
balance being a dad, which I would think that would be so amazing to be like, my dad's a rock star, like, but how do you balance, because you're on the road, you're back home, you have kids, you're being
Yeah,
a rockin' dad in a sense, but like, how do you
right.
balance being on the road and home life?
I mean, there's just some things you just have to do it. I'd say it's harder on them than it is on me. Um, I'm gone about half of the year. So the half that I'm home, I really take advantage of it. I don't have many friends. I don't go very many places. I just stay home and hang out with my kids. That's where I am today. I'm hanging out with them. I honestly feel like being home half the year and not having any restrictions, just being able to be here, that it's quite possible that I get even more time with them and especially even more quality time with them than I would if I had a normal job. And no offense to all you normal job folks out there, I really do appreciate you.
Yeah, though that makes sense because then you're there when you're there 100%. Speaking of your tours and being on the road, what do you have coming up?
We are doing the summer festivals right now, and then we have a fall tour called the Skeletor. So that's kind of, leaning into the album Skeleton Psalms, and it's with a band called Relent, and we're extremely excited about our fall tour. So you can go to our website, which is disciplerocks.com, or our Facebook page and see our tour dates there.
What is one message you would like to leave with our listeners?
Something that's been really awesome for me lately is, we talk about the cross as we should, and the cross is this amazing symbol that we recognize with Christianity. But I've been learning and finding out that the cross is only the pathway. Jesus says, "I am the way," and the cross is really only the way to resurrection. And that resurrection is kind of like when Martha was saying to Jesus, if you'd just been here, my brother wouldn't have died. And he is like, I am the resurrection. Resurrection is not just something that's going to happen, one day for us. It's something that happens right now. The book of Hebrews talks about because of our resurrection, because of our new life, that we actually get to go into the Holy of Holies and have this relationship with God. And we always focus on the cross as far as laying our life down, as far as, getting our lives right and removing our sin. But the real goal is resurrection. The real goal is this new life, is this transformation of becoming more like him. And the book of Hebrews says it in such a beautiful way. It's like this new life of knowing our creator and becoming more like him. That is what life is all about. This knowing him and becoming more like him. It's not just me stopping doing things and asking forgiveness for this thing, or getting this out of my life. That's not the goal. The goal is that I get to know him and I get to become more like him. That is the resurrection, the born again, the new life experience. It's kind of like, if you ask somebody, so what did Moses say to Pharaoh? He's like, let my people go. But it's like, that's not what he said. He said, let my people go so that they may worship me. And so when we look at the cross, we think of the love of God and just laying our life down and getting rid of our sin and forgiving of our sin. But that's only half the story. The most beautiful part of the story is that God wants to know us and wants us to know him and wants to have a relationship with us and become more like him. And that is the beauty of the resurrection.
You guys are pretty hard rock, and there's this alternative Christian music, which is great and wonderful, but people worship at your concerts too. And I've been at your concerts. You did the Gym State tour a couple years ago here and came to Where the Effect Is. And how do you think like the difference is between the worship that you guys have at your events compared to your traditional worship?
Well, first of all, thank you for what you do. We really do appreciate you so much and what you're doing. Um, you know, I I don't think that it's any different, really. Because if I mean, it's kind of like opening a Christmas present. You know, you take the wrapping off, you take the box, and you throw it away. It's all about the gift that's inside. The style of music that people worship to. I mean, you can go into the Amazon jungle or, just some far out tribe somewhere. And the style of music that they're performing is just the rapping, it's the box that gets thrown away. It's the worship. It's what's being said. Even go back thousands of years ago to someone worshiping, God in that way, it would look very, very different than how we do it today. And that's just the wrapping paper, the box. The idea is this connection, this worship, with our creator that, we has just loves us so much, and we're just taking time to love him back. And for us, I was a worship leader for 8 or 9 years at my church, and I found, I was obviously really young, and I was like, I did it from like time I was at 18 to 27. I was young, and I was playing all these new worship songs and all this kind of stuff. And so whenever I would play all these new worship songs, all the youth would really be worshiping and engaging in God. And I found out that the older crowd wasn't really worshiping. And I figured out, if I threw in a song or two that I knew that they liked. Music has this ability to just like unlock your soul, like just get all the walls and just tear them down and just unlock it. I play these songs that they were connecting with, and I just saw the older generation like begin to worship. And I began to know that, everybody's different. Not everybody's, we're not the same in the way that we connect, with God, and the things that move us, emotionally and spiritually to help us connect with God. And that's okay. There's this wonderful, awesome worship music that I love that's contemporary, that's modern or whatever. And then, we're a hard rock band, and we take a lot of our songs and we worship God with them. We also have a worship project. It's called Honor and Glory. It's a completely different band made up of the same guys, but it's like rock worship music. So worship is extremely important to us. But like I said, it's the style is I've figured out is not important. It's the person connecting with the creator, and sometimes it just takes different ways of helping people get there.
Check out his new album, Skeleton Psalms. And
That's right.
thank you. I've been talking with Kevin from Disciple.